The music was thumping, but my voice sliced right through it. You're seriously asking me to turn down MIT because Tyler screwed up again? The whole apartment went silent like someone hit mute. Madison still had my phone clamped in her hand, her knuckles white. Tyler perched on the arm of the couch, a beer bottle dangling between his knees, watching me like this was some show he'd bought a ticket for. Madison's jaw tightened, and she dropped her voice to a hiss. Evan, don't start this here. I stepped forward and held out my palm. Give me my phone. She didn't move. My screen glowed with Dr. Harris's email, full funding, research stipend, housing, a spot in Professor Keller's robotics lab at MIT, the exact same offer I'd already lived through once. Last time, Madison had cried in this kitchen, Tyler had stared at the floor, and I'd called Dr. Harris before midnight to say no. That one phone call had cost me years I'd never get back. Not this time. Madison crossed her arms over my phone like she was protecting it from me. Tyler's company collapsed yesterday, she said flatly. He owes people money, and his parents are already stretched thin. Tyler raised one hand lazily. Madison, you don't have to explain my business to him. I turned to look at him. You're sitting in my apartment, drinking my beer, while my girlfriend tells me to trash my career because you can't pay your bills. His mouth flattened into a thin line. Madison shoved the phone against my chest. See that? That attitude right there. I caught it before it hit the floor. What attitude? You make everything sound ugly, she snapped. It is ugly. A few classmates who'd been hovering near the kitchen quietly melted away. Madison's roommate Paige stopped pretending to dig through the fridge. Tyler stood up slowly. Dude, nobody's asking you to pay my debt. I unlocked my phone. No. He spread his hands. No. I opened our joint savings account, turned the screen around, and let them see the $8,400 transfer I just found. Madison's face went pale. Tyler shot her a look, and Paige whispered, "Oh shit." Madison grabbed for the phone, but I pulled it back. The transfer had gone out 3 days earlier, our graduation travel fund, money I'd put in. Money she'd put in, money we were supposed to use for a cross-country road trip before I started working. Recipient, Tyler Grant. I tapped the transaction. You told me the bank froze the account for a security review. Madison glanced around the room, her voice cracking. This isn't the place. You picked the place. Her jaw tightened. I was going to tell you, after graduation, after you turned down MIT. Tyler stepped between us, hand against my chest. Back off. I looked at his hand, then at his face. Move it. He dropped it. Madison's voice rose in anger. You are not turning tonight into some macho competition. I pointed at Tyler. There's no competition. Then I pointed at the phone. There's theft. Her eyes went wide. I did not steal from you. You transferred money from an account I funded without telling me, for an emergency. His emergency? Yes. His emergency? I grabbed her wrist, not hard, and moved her hand toward Tyler. He stared at me. She jerked back, but I took her hand again and placed it directly in his palm. A couple of people actually gasped. You keep choosing him, I said. Madison froze. I stepped away from both of them. So choose him for good. Tyler laughed once, but the sound died fast. Madison pulled her hand free. What the hell is wrong with you? Nothing. You're breaking up with me because I helped my oldest friend? No, I slid my phone into my pocket. I'm breaking up with you because you used my money. Lied about it, and walked in here expecting me to throw away MIT so I can stay and help him recover from another mistake. Tyler's face went red. Another mistake. You want the list, Tyler? I turned to Madison. No, Madison, he asked. I counted on my fingers. Freshman year, he wrecked his car. You asked me for $1,100 because his insurance deductible was too high. Tyler opened his mouth, but I kept going. Sophomore year, he got kicked out after 2 months without paying rent. I let him sleep on our couch for 6 weeks. That was temporary, he muttered. Junior year, he missed 3 deadlines for Professor Mackey. I rebuilt his simulation so he could finish the class. Tyler stepped closer. That project was ours. It was mine. I grabbed my laptop from the counter, opened it, and pulled up my repository, commit history, file creation dates, my university login on every major build. Tyler leaned in, and Madison tried to shut the laptop, but I moved it away. Senior year, he decided he was a startup founder. He used my prototype video in his pitch deck without asking. That prototype came from discussions we had, Tyler shot back. You mean when you watched me build it? His shoulders tensed. Madison threw both hands up. Enough. I closed the laptop. Agreed. She stepped toward me. You're angry. Fine. Sleep somewhere else tonight. But you're not throwing away 4 years over one argument. I picked my jacket off the chair. I'm not throwing away anything. What does that mean? It means I'm done. She laughed, not because anything was funny, but because she didn't believe me. You're going to cool off and call me tomorrow. No. You always do. Not tomorrow, Evan. I walked toward the door. Her voice sharpened. If you walk out right now, don't come back expecting me to apologize for helping somebody I care about. I stopped. Tyler stood behind her, beer still in hand, and Madison stood between us like she had every other time. I opened the door. You won't have to. Then I walked out. In the stairwell, I called Dr. Harris. He answered on the third ring. Evan, everything okay? Yes. I paused. You sounded uncertain earlier. I'm not uncertain now. A short pause. So I'm accepting the MIT offer. His voice changed immediately. Good. Sign everything tonight. I will. Keller's lab has another candidate waiting. He can keep waiting. Dr. Harris laughed. That's more like you. I hung up and drove to campus. The engineering building was mostly empty. I signed the acceptance documents at 11:47 p.m. At 11:52, Madison called. I declined it. At 11:53, she called again. I declined it. At 11:55, Tyler texted, "You're being dramatic." I blocked him. At midnight, I transferred my remaining share of the joint account into my personal checking. I didn't touch Madison's money, but I downloaded every statement. Then I submitted the form to remove my name from the account after pending transactions cleared. The next morning, I met our landlord. He wore sweatpants and carried a fist-sized ring of keys. You two splitting up? Yes. Lease is up June 30th. I won't renew. He scratched his beard. Madison? She will. You've been paying most of the rent. Correct, 70%. He looked at the file. You want me to tell her? No, I signed the notice. She can read. By 9 a.m., I had separated the phone plan. By 9:30, I was off the utility autopay. By 10, I had called the auto insurer and split our policies. At 10:17, Madison stormed into the mechanical engineering lab. The door hit the stopper hard enough to make 4 students turn. She held up her phone. What the hell are you doing? I kept tightening a mounting bracket. Working. My phone got kicked off the family plan. It was my plan. You canceled the utilities. I canceled my autopay. Our landlord emailed me. I set down the wrench. That was fast. She stared. You're actually doing this? Yes. Over Tyler. No. Stop saying that, you keep bringing him up. She slapped both palms onto the workbench. You are punishing me because I refuse to abandon somebody who's been in my life since I was 6. I picked up a shop rag and wiped grease off my fingers. You don't have to abandon him. Then what do you want? Nothing. Her face twitched. I want absolutely nothing from you. That finally shut her up. She stood across from me while the room pretended not to listen. Then she pointed at my laptop. Did you accept MIT? Yes. Her mouth opened. You didn't even talk to me. You already told me what you wanted. I told you we needed to think about our life. You told me to reject the offer because we had a plan. You had a plan, we were moving in together permanently. You were moving Tyler into our budget permanently. She lowered her voice. He is going through a hard time. Then help him. You know I can't cover everything. I pulled the $8,400 transfer record from my folder and placed it on the table. You already started. Her eyes dropped to the paper. I pushed it toward her. My contribution to that fund was $15,600. I'll pay it back. She said nothing. I picked up the wrench again. You don't have $15,600. I said I'll fix it. You don't need to. She blinked. I've already documented it. What does that mean? It means I'm counting it against the furniture and the security deposit. Keep the couch, keep the television, keep the bedroom set. Her head snapped up. You planned all this overnight. I handled my business overnight. She grabbed the transfer printout. You make me sound like some criminal. I'm describing a bank transaction. You know what? Fine. She crumpled the paper. Go to Boston. Chase your precious degree. But when you realize a lab can't love you back, don't come crawling home. A student near the printer coughed into his fist. I looked at Madison. Anything else? Her cheeks went red. She turned and walked out before the door shut. Dr. Harris came in from the other side. He watched Madison pass him, then looked at me. That bad? Handled. He placed a folder on the workbench. Then handle this. Inside was the official MIT package funding, research placement, a stipend bigger than the starting salary Madison had expected me to accept locally after rent. Dr. Harris tapped the first page. Professor Keller wants confirmation by Friday. He'll have it today. Good. He started away, then stopped. And Evan, don't let anybody guilt you for taking an opportunity they'd kill to have. I signed the first page. I won't. 3 days later, Tyler found me in the senior project lab. He closed the door behind him. You sent Mackie your Git logs. I didn't look up. He asked for them. Why? You know why. He walked closer, cap backward, hands opening and closing. My thesis committee is questioning my model. That sounds like a committee problem. They're questioning where the code came from. I kept packing sensors into foam cases. Then tell them. It's not that simple. It's extremely simple. He planted both hands on the table. We built that together. I finally looked at him. No, you sat beside me while I built it. You gave me permission to use pieces for class demonstrations, not as original thesis work. His jaw flexed. You trying to get me expelled? No. Then withdraw the complaint. I didn't file one. He stared. Professor Mackey saw overlapping code during review. That's his job. He emailed me asking for source records. I sent them. You could have covered for me. I did that enough. His nostrils flared. This is because of Madison. I snapped the case shut. This is because your name is on work you didn't do. He stepped into my path. You think because some professor at MIT wants you, you're suddenly better than everybody here? Move. You've always looked down on me. Move. He grabbed the case, and I held onto the handle for a second. We stood there with the equipment between us, until Dr. Harris opened the door. What's happening? Tyler released it immediately. Nothing. Dr. Harris looked at him. Then leave. Tyler gave me a hard stare. This isn't over. Dr. Harris pointed at the hallway. It is in my lab. Tyler walked out. Dr. Harris closed the door. You want campus security involved? No. If he touches lab equipment again, I do. Fair. He nodded toward the case. You ready for Boston? Yes. Good. He glanced toward the door. You're about to learn something useful. What? Some people only look capable because a capable person keeps standing behind them. I locked the case. That arrangement ended. It did. And within 1 week, everything Tyler had leaned on started falling down. Professor Mackey ordered a full review of his senior thesis. Tyler missed his first remediation meeting, then showed up to the second without the original notebooks he claimed to have used. The committee asked him to explain sections of the code. He couldn't. Madison blamed me before the meeting was even over. She found me outside the student union, shoving a printed email toward me. Tyler's graduation status had been placed under review. You gave them everything. They asked for my records. You could have told them you worked together. We didn't. You helped him. That's not the same thing. She lowered her voice. Do you understand what this could do to him? Yes. And you don't care. I pointed at the email. Do you understand what submitting someone else's work as your own can do to you? That's not what happened. Then he'll explain it. He's scared, he's 24, he has anxiety. He had enough confidence to use my code. She slapped the email against my chest. You are enjoying this. I caught the paper before it fell. No. Don't lie. I'm busy. Her eyes narrowed. With what? Graduating. That's it. And leaving. That stopped her again. Every time she expected a fight, I gave her a fact. Every time she expected a speech, I gave her a deadline. She pointed toward the engineering building. You know Tyler looks up to you. I laughed once. Then he should have watched more closely. Evan, no. You came here because you want me to fix it. I want you to tell the truth. I did. You want to punish him? If I wanted to punish him, I'd have reported the prototype pitch deck last year. Her face went still. What? I opened my phone and pulled up Tyler's old investor presentation. Slide 14 showed my robotic arm prototype, the same one I had built for Dr. Harris, with the lab logo cropped out. Madison stared at it. He said you gave him that. I didn't. He said you were part of the startup. I wasn't. Her eyes moved across the screen. He said the three of us were going to build something after graduation. That was his plan. She looked at me. You never told me. You never asked. That's not fair. Neither was $8,400. She recoiled like I had slapped the air between us. I locked my phone. Go help him. Then I walked away. That afternoon, Madison called 7 times. I didn't answer. At 6 p.m., she sent one message: "Can we talk without fighting?" I responded once: "There's nothing left to negotiate." She didn't answer. The next week, the landlord called while I was loading boxes into my father's truck. Madison had applied to take over the apartment alone but didn't qualify. Her income was too low without a guarantor. That evening, I carried the last box down the stairs. Madison was waiting at the front entrance, holding my old coffee mug. You could have warned me about the rent. You signed the original lease. I didn't know you were paying that much. You never asked. I paid groceries sometimes. She glared. You really want to do this now? You stopped me. Her grip tightened around the mug. Tyler offered to move in. That should solve it. He doesn't have steady income. Then it won't. She took one step closer. Do you hear yourself? Yes. You sound cold. I sound finished. She put the mug on top of my box. I know you're angry about the money. I'm not discussing the money again. I can make payments. Keep it. What? Keep the $15,600. Her eyebrows pulled together. I don't want your charity. It's not charity. Then what is it? Tuition. She stared. For what? I lifted the box. For learning what happens when you make decisions with somebody else's money. Her mouth dropped open. I carried the box past her. She followed me outside. My father was strapping furniture into the truck bed. He looked at Madison, then at me. You done? Yes. Madison folded her arms. Mr. Brooks, can you please tell him he's being insane? My father pulled the strap tight. No. She blinked. No? He's 24, you don't even know what happened. I know he got into MIT. That isn't the whole story. My father tested the strap. It's enough of the story for me. Madison looked offended. You liked me. I did. And now you're just okay with this? My father finally faced her. Madison, my son spent 4 years solving everybody else's emergencies. She glanced at me. He chose to help. He did. My father nodded. And now he chose to stop. She had no answer. He opened the driver's door. We leaving? I put the box in the back. Yes. Madison stepped in front of me. You're not actually leaving me like this. I closed the truck door. Watch me. 2 weeks later, Tyler's graduation honor was suspended pending review. He still received his degree after remedial work. But the department refused to endorse his thesis for distinction. That should have ended it. Instead, his mother confronted me at commencement. She came straight across the quad in a bright blue dress, dragging Tyler's father behind her, with Madison already standing with them. My parents were 10 feet away. Tyler's mother jabbed a finger toward my chest. You ruined my son's future. Several people turned. I handed my cap to my father. Good afternoon, Mrs. Grant. Don't you good afternoon me. He worked 4 years for this degree, and because you were jealous over a girl, you poisoned his professors against him. My mother stepped forward, but I lifted one hand. I've got it. Mrs. Grant laughed bitterly. Oh, I'm sure you do. You always think you've got everything. Dr. Harris was walking toward us with 2 faculty members. I called out, Professor. He stopped. Mrs. Grant turned, and I pointed toward Tyler. His mother has questions about the thesis review. Tyler's face drained. Evan, don't. Mrs. Grant looked confused. Dr. Harris adjusted his glasses. I wasn't on the final committee, but I reviewed the source logs. She folded her arms. Then you know my son was treated unfairly. Dr. Harris's expression did not change. Your son submitted code originally written under Evan Brooks's university account. That doesn't prove anything. He was then asked to reproduce portions of the model. She hesitated. Dr. Harris continued, he couldn't. Tyler stepped forward. That wasn't what happened. Dr. Harris turned to him. You were given 3 review sessions, you missed one, you joined the second 40 minutes late. My car broke down, my phone. Dr. Harris held up a hand. The committee still allowed you to revise. Mrs. Grant looked at Tyler. He looked away. Dr. Harris nodded toward me. Mr. Brooks did not file a complaint. Faculty discovered the overlap independently. Mrs. Grant lowered her finger. Nobody said anything. For several seconds, nobody spoke. My father broke the silence. My son isn't responsible for raising yours. Tyler's father closed his eyes. Mrs. Grant turned red. Madison stared at the ground. I picked up my cap. Congratulations on graduation, Tyler. He looked at me like he wanted to break something. I put the cap back on and walked toward the ceremony with my parents. Madison caught up near the entrance. Evan. I kept moving. She grabbed my sleeve. We need to talk. No. Please. I stopped because people were crowding behind us. She lowered her voice. I didn't know all of that. You knew enough. Tyler told me you gave him permission. I already showed you the pitch deck, the thesis. He lied. Her face tightened. I get that now. Good. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it back. Don't. She froze. I'm trying to apologize. Then apologize. Her lips parted. I'm sorry. I nodded. Accepted. She blinked. That's it? Yes. You're not going to say anything? What do you want? I don't know. Then we're done. I moved around her. She followed. Could we try long distance? I stopped again. No. You're really not even going to think about it? No. I said I was sorry. I heard you. People make mistakes. Yes, so you're free to make yours. Her face hardened. And you're perfect. No, you're acting like you never hurt me. I probably did. You forgot our anniversary sophomore year. I apologized. You spent weeks in that lab and ignored me. I invited you there. That isn't the point. What is the point? She stared at me. That relationships take work. Agreed. Then why won't you work on this? Because I'm not in this relationship anymore. Her shoulders dropped. Tyler came through the crowd and stopped when he saw us. Madison looked between us, then turned back to me. Go to MIT. I am. We can still talk. No, you don't get to decide everything. I get to decide whether I'm your boyfriend. Tyler walked closer. Madison, leave it. She snapped around. Stay out of this. That was the first time I had ever heard her say that to him. Tyler looked stunned, then a slow, ugly smile spread across his face. Maybe she needs someone who actually stays. Madison closed her eyes. I reached into my pocket. The old apartment key was still on my ring. I slid it off and tossed it to him. He caught it. Congratulations. He stared at the key. I nodded toward Madison. Rent's due on the 1st. His smile vanished. My father laughed from several feet away. Madison looked furious. Evan. I turned. Enjoy graduation. That was the last conversation we had before I left the state. Madison showed up at the airport anyway. I was standing near security with a backpack and 2 suitcases when she came running through the terminal. Evan. People turned. I didn't. She reached me out of breath. You were going to leave without saying goodbye. We said goodbye at graduation. No, you said whatever you wanted and walked away. I checked the boarding time. She stepped in front of me. Look at me. I did. Her hair was pulled back, and she wore the gray hoodie she had stolen from me 2 years earlier. You don't have to do this. My flight board's in 20 minutes. I mean us. There is no us. Her eyes flashed. You can't erase 4 years. I'm not, they meant enough for me to know I'm done. She swallowed. Tyler and I aren't together. I didn't ask. I need you to understand, he kissed me once, last year. I waited. She rubbed both hands over her arms. There it was. Not a confession I had needed, not anymore. I kept my voice flat. Okay. Her eyes widened. Okay? Yes. I pushed him away. Okay. I never slept with him. Okay. Would you stop saying that? Then stop giving me information I didn't request. She stared at me. He was drunk. That sounds like Tyler. He apologized. That also sounds like Tyler. Her voice cracked. You're making this impossible. No, I made it simple. I pointed toward the terminal doors. You stay here. Then toward security. I go there. She looked at my boarding pass. If you get on that plane, don't expect me to wait. I handed the pass to the security officer. I never asked you to. I walked through the checkpoint. She stayed behind the barrier. I didn't turn around again. Boston moved fast. Professor Keller did not care about Madison, Tyler, graduation drama, or how many nights I had spent fixing somebody else's code. On my first morning, he pointed at a malfunctioning robotic picking arm and dropped a tablet into my hands. It fails randomly under mixed lighting. I looked at the test log. How randomly? Enough to make the sponsor angry. When do they want it fixed? Yesterday. That was the kind of problem I could use. I worked no rescue calls, number 2 a.m. messages because Tyler lost his wallet, no argument about whether Madison had to cancel dinner because Tyler was upset. No missing money, no borrowed car, no surprise guest on the couch. The work got harder. My life got cleaner. Professor Keller paired me with Claire Bennett during my second semester. She had an industrial engineering background and could tear apart a bad process faster than most engineers could build one. The first time we met, she dropped a folder beside my keyboard. Your test documentation is terrible. I looked at the folder. It passed review. Barely. You always introduce yourself like this? Yes. She pulled up a chair. Claire, Evan, I know your name is on every file. That sounds like good documentation. It isn't. She took my keyboard, I took it back. We worked until midnight. By the end of the week, the sponsor stopped complaining. By the end of the semester, Professor Keller put both of us on a warehouse automation project backed by a major logistics company. 2 years passed in deadlines, demonstrations, failed prototypes, conference rooms, factory floors, and patent meetings. Then Tyler walked back into my life, wearing a cheap suit and carrying a vendor badge. He didn't recognize my name on the project schedule. His company was one of 6 subcontractors bidding for sensor installation and field support. Claire stood beside the conference room screen. Next vendor, Grant Industrial Solutions. The door opened, and Tyler came in with 2 co-workers. He was halfway to the table when he saw me. He stopped. Holy. His manager looked between us. You two know each other? Tyler recovered fast. College. He laughed and held out his hand. Man, look at you. I shook it once. Tyler. He glanced at the badge on my shirt, lead research engineer, MIT. He whistled. Guess the nerd stuff paid off. Claire looked at me. I opened the evaluation sheet. Start whenever you're ready. Tyler's smile slipped. His manager began the presentation. The first 10 minutes were generic, service coverage, installation timeline, maintenance support. Then they reached the technical section. I noticed the problem immediately. Their proposed integration architecture assumed our control system used a standard industrial protocol we had replaced 8 months earlier. Claire noticed too, she tapped her pen. Which version of the interface specification did you build this against? Tyler's manager looked at him. Tyler clicked backward through the slides. The current one. I folded my hands. What revision? He looked at the screen. Latest. Claire didn't blink. What revision number? Silence. Tyler cleared his throat. Revision 4. Claire turned the tablet around. We're on revision 9. His manager leaned toward him. You said engineering verified this. Tyler lowered his voice. They did. I opened their appendix. Who? He looked at me. I pointed to a diagram. This topology was copied from our public demonstration paper. His manager stared. Tyler shifted. Public information is public information. Yes. I zoomed in. You also copied the limitation note. Claire leaned forward. The note clearly said the configuration was experimental and not approved for deployment. His manager's face changed. Tyler tried to move on. We can update that. I flipped another page. You priced 14 gateways. Yes. The facility requires 38. We were told 14. By who? Tyler looked toward his manager. His manager looked back, nobody answered. Claire set down her pen. Your proposal is not deployable. Tyler's neck went red. We can revise, all vendors can revise before final submission. I closed the packet. You'll need a new technical review. After the meeting, Tyler waited outside the conference room. His co-workers left without him. He leaned against the wall. You enjoyed that? I kept walking. He followed. Come on, man. I stopped near the elevators. What? You could have given me a heads up. You're bidding on a multi-million-dollar installation, prepare. He lowered his voice. My boss thinks I screwed this up. You did. You know how this industry works, everybody gets help. Ask your engineers. He laughed bitterly. We're a 12-person company. Then bid on 12-person work. His face tightened. You think you're hot now? No. You sat in there like you didn't know me. I know you act like it. The elevator arrived. I stepped inside. He blocked the door with one hand. Madison and I are together. Claire was inside the elevator beside me. She looked at him, then at me. I pressed the door open button. Congratulations. His eyes searched my face. That's it? What else do you need? He dropped his voice. She waited almost a year. Okay. She kept saying you'd come back. Sounds difficult for her. The doors started to close, he stopped them again. She finally moved on. I reached over and removed his hand from the sensor. Then why are you telling me? The doors shut. Claire looked at the numbers above us. Ex-girlfriend situation? Yes. Complicated? Not anymore. The elevator opened. We went back to work. Tyler's company submitted a revised proposal 5 days later, better, but still not good enough. They scored 18 out of 100 in technical compliance. They lost the contract. Madison called me that night, I almost didn't recognize the number. Evan? Yes, it's Madison. I know. A pause. I heard about Tyler's bid. Okay. He thinks you targeted him. I didn't. He said you embarrassed him in front of his boss. I asked technical questions, you knew he wasn't ready. So did he? She exhaled hard. Can we not do this? You called me. I'm trying to understand what happened. I opened the evaluation document. What do you want to know? Did you fail his company? No. Were you part of the decision? Yes, there were 5 evaluators. Couldn't you have recused yourself? I disclosed our history before the meeting. The procurement lead chose to keep me on because the scoring was standardized. She went quiet. I continued, Tyler's company scored 18 out of 100. You're serious? Yes, the winning vendor scored 91. She didn't answer. I emailed the public portion of the vendor scorecard, her phone chimed. That's the evaluation. She opened it while we were still connected, I heard the rustle. Integration design, 3 out of 25. Yes. Installation plan, 4 out of 20. Yes. Technical accuracy, 2 out of 20. Yes. She stopped reading. Jesus. I didn't fail him, he showed up empty. She lowered her voice. He told me you changed the requirements after he submitted. No. He said you set him up. No. He said. Madison. She went silent. If you want to know why Tyler lost the bid, read the scorecard. If you want to know why Tyler told you something different, ask Tyler. Her voice turned tired. Things have been hard. That's not my business. He lost another job last year. Still not my business. We had to move. I said nothing. She kept going. I sold my car. Why? To cover some debt, his. Yes. I looked at the clock. I have a meeting. Evan, do you ever miss any of it? That was the closest she had come to asking the real question. I stood and picked up my notebook. I don't discuss my personal life with vendors' girlfriends. She sucked in a breath. That was unnecessary. It was accurate. We were together for 4 years. Were. Her voice turned sharp. You know what? Forget it. Good night, Madison. I ended the call. The next morning, Claire dropped a printed funding notice on my desk. Congratulations. I looked at the top line, $3.2 million industry-backed research funding for the next phase of our warehouse robotics platform. Professor Keller appeared behind her holding 3 paper cups of coffee. You two have 8 months. Claire stared at him. For what? To turn the prototype into something a warehouse can abuse for 18 hours a day without calling us. I picked up the funding notice. When do we start? Keller handed me a coffee. Yesterday. The next 18 months were brutal. We broke gearboxes, burned out motors, lost data, redesigned housings, rewrote control software. We argued with safety auditors, procurement, and each other. We also filed 2 patents, presented at an automation conference in Chicago, and signed a pilot agreement with 3 distribution centers. My name appeared on the MIT engineering site, then on an industry publication, then in a short article about young researchers commercializing warehouse automation. I didn't send any of it home, my father did. He called one Friday afternoon. Your mother printed the article. That sounds dangerous. She framed it. That's worse. He laughed. You coming home for the alumni event? Yes. Good, your mother bought you a suit. I own a suit. Apparently, you own the wrong suit. I heard her yell in the background, tell him Navy photographs better. My father lowered his voice. You see what I live with? I grew up there. Fair. The alumni event put me back on my old campus for the first time in 4 years. Dr. Harris met me outside the engineering building. His hair had gone grayer, but his handshake was exactly the same. Dr. Brooks. Almost, don't start. You're defending next year. If Keller stops adding work, he won't. We walked inside. Several students gathered around our demonstration table. Claire was already setting up. She pointed at my tie. Your mother? Yes. Good choice. Don't encourage her. Dr. Harris leaned toward Claire. She used to email me before his presentations. I stared at him. You never told me that. She threatened me. Claire laughed. The event ran for 2 hours. We talked to students, faculty, alumni, and company reps. Then I heard a familiar voice across the hall. You've got to be kidding me. Tyler stood near the entrance. Madison was beside him. She looked different, shorter hair, dark business clothes, no bright smile. Tyler looked almost exactly the same, except heavier around the face. He came toward me first. Madison grabbed his arm. Don't. He pulled away. No, I want to hear this. Claire looked at me. I nodded toward the students. Keep the demo moving. Tyler stopped in front of the table. A few old classmates recognized him. He pointed at the robot. This is it. I folded my arms. What? The thing everybody keeps acting like you invented civilization over. Madison stepped closer. Tyler, stop. He ignored her. I've seen better systems on YouTube. Dr. Harris looked at him. Then you should have brought one. A student laughed. Tyler's face hardened. He pointed at me. You know what's funny? Half of this started with ideas we worked on together. The room got quieter. I looked at him. What ideas? He spread his arms. Seriously? Our senior automation model. Yours was rejected because you sabotaged me. Dr. Harris stepped forward. Tyler lifted his chin. Everybody knows what happened. No, everybody heard your version. He smiled. Then tell yours. I took my phone out. Madison closed her eyes. Evan, you don't have to. Tyler laughed. Oh, let him. I connected my phone to the event screen. The old university academic review document appeared. Tyler's smile faded. I scrolled to the findings: source code created under my account, original development logs, unauthorized reuse, failure to reproduce key portions during review. Corrective action: no expulsion, no secret conspiracy, no jealous boyfriend complaint, just records. I handed the remote to Dr. Harris. He clicked through the timestamps. These logs were preserved because the case involved disputed authorship. Tyler's face went red. That was 4 years ago. You brought it up. You had access to the system. So did the review board. This proves nothing? Dr. Harris clicked to the next page. There were 3 faculty members on the board. Tyler's voice rose. And they all loved Evan. A few people shifted uncomfortably. Madison grabbed his sleeve again. Stop. He yanked his arm away. Why are you defending him? I'm not defending him. Yes, you are. You're making a scene. He planned this. I looked around the room. You walked into my event. Tyler stepped closer. You think because you got some degree and a few investors sniffing around, you won? I didn't move. Won what? His mouth opened, nothing came out. I pointed toward the screen. I graduated. Toward our prototype. I kept working. Toward him. You've spent 4 years explaining why your life is my fault. His hands balled into fists. Madison moved between us. Enough. Tyler snapped at her. Get out of the way. No, Madison, no. She stood her ground. That silenced him for half a second. Then she turned toward me. Take it off the screen. I nodded to Dr. Harris. He disconnected it. Tyler laughed. Yeah, protect him. Madison spun back. I'm protecting you from making this worse. You think I'm stupid? She looked at him for the first time. She didn't answer immediately. Tyler's face changed. You do? She lowered her voice. I found the old hard drive. His shoulders stiffened. What hard drive? The one from college, the startup files, Madison, the designs. Not here. The documents with Evan's name in the metadata. People around us stopped pretending not to listen. Tyler stepped toward her, she stepped back. You told me you built those systems together. We did. She shook her head. No, he built them. I checked. You don't even understand that stuff. I understand file authors. He pointed toward me. He probably changed it. Madison stared at him. 4 years ago. He didn't answer. She continued. You told me he agreed to everything. He did. You told me he gave you the investor video. He did. I spoke once. No. Tyler snapped toward me. Shut up. Campus security had started moving toward us from the lobby. Madison looked at him. You lied to me. His face twisted. Oh, now I'm the liar. You lied, you took his side for years. Because I believed you. That's not my problem. The words hung there. Madison went still. Tyler realized too late what he had said. He softened his voice. Madison. She backed away. Don't. He reached for her, she slapped his hand off. Don't touch me. Security arrived. One officer spoke quietly. Sir, you need to leave. Tyler looked around, nobody stepped in, nobody defended him. He pointed at me one last time. This guy ruins everybody around him. Dr. Harris gave him a flat look. Interesting theory. The officer guided Tyler toward the door. Madison stayed, she watched him leave, then turned to me. I'm sorry. I started packing the presentation remote into its case. For what part? She swallowed. All of it. I zipped the case. Be specific. Her eyes went wet, but she didn't cry. For believing him every time, for treating your help like it was something you owed us, for making you the bad guy every time you stopped fixing something. I closed the equipment case. She looked at the floor. I didn't know how much of his work was yours. You knew enough. She nodded slowly. I know. Claire walked over. We have to be at the dinner in 20 minutes. I'm coming. Madison glanced at Claire. Claire didn't react. Madison looked back at me. I didn't know what I was throwing away. I adjusted the case handle. You knew, you just thought I'd keep paying for it. I walked past her, she didn't follow. That night, Tyler and Madison had a screaming argument in the parking lot. I heard about it from Paige, not from either of them. Paige cornered me at the alumni dinner. You really don't know? No. They're basically imploding. That sounds private. She found out he used her credit card again. I looked at her. How much? Almost $11,200. Claire was standing beside me with 2 drinks. She raised an eyebrow. Paige kept going. He told Madison it was business expenses. I took one glass from Claire. What business exactly? Paige leaned closer. Apparently, he hasn't had a real job in 4 months. I took a sip. Why are you telling me? Because this is insane. It's predictable. She stared. That's cold. No, it's arithmetic. Claire almost choked on her drink. Paige looked between us. Okay, I see Boston changed you. No, I just stopped volunteering for other people's disasters. Sirens flashed briefly near the parking entrance. I didn't go look. The next morning, I flew back to Massachusetts. There was a prototype waiting, a patent review, a funding call, a company meeting, and 1 year left before my dissertation defense. I had work to do. 5 months after the alumni event, Professor Keller dropped a legal pad on the conference table. Your dissertation can wait 20 minutes. I looked up from the actuator test results. That usually means you want something expensive. Claire pushed a cup of coffee toward me. He does. Keller pointed at the screen behind him. A logistics company we had been working with wanted exclusive commercial rights to part of our warehouse automation system. The number on the proposal was big enough to make 2 doctoral students at the far end of the table stop typing. Keller tapped the offer. They want exclusivity for North America. I read the licensing terms. They want control. Correct, they're not getting it. Claire leaned back. That took 8 seconds. It was a bad offer. It's $6 million for technology they expect to deploy across hundreds of facilities. Keller nodded. Good, so what do we do? I pushed the proposal back. License the existing version, non-exclusive, keep the core control architecture. Claire pointed her pen at me. And spin the new platform into a company. I looked at her. She already had a second folder open. She slid it across the table: articles of organization, ownership options, patent licensing structure, a capitalization model. I turned the first page. You already did this. Claire shrugged. I don't like wasting meetings. Keller grinned. That's why I hired her. You didn't hire her. Details. I flipped through the documents. Claire tapped one section. University gets a licensing position, Keller gets his inventor share, you get yours. We build around deployment, integration, and support. I looked at the proposed ownership percentages. This is aggressive. It needs to be. We don't even have a full commercial unit. We have 3 pilots, 3 prototypes being abused by warehouse workers. That's called product validation. Keller picked up his coffee. She's right. I looked at him. You always take her side. No, she's usually right faster. Claire smiled. Put that in writing. Keller ignored her. The technical risk is yours, the business risk is hers. I'll keep the university from burying both of you in paperwork. I closed the folder. When? Claire answered immediately. Now. That afternoon, we started the company. Nothing dramatic happened. No champagne, no cameras, no billionaire handed me a check. Claire called lawyers, I signed forms, Keller argued with the technology transfer office. I spent 6 hours debugging a perception error caused by reflective shrink wrap. At 11:40 p.m., Claire walked into the lab carrying a convenience store sandwich. You realize you own part of a company now. I tightened a sensor mount. We own paperwork. Very expensive paperwork. The robot still misses black plastic totes. She dropped the sandwich on the table. Eat, you haven't moved in 5 hours. I moved over there. That's 4 feet. I opened the sandwich. My phone buzzed, a number from my hometown. I ignored it. It buzzed again. Claire looked at the screen. Family? No. Debt collector? No. Secret child? I looked at her, she smiled. I'm trying to make your life interesting. It's already interesting. The phone buzzed a third time, then a message appeared. Evan. It's Madison. I need 5 minutes. That's all. Claire saw the name, she picked up her laptop. I suddenly need to be 30 feet away. You don't. I absolutely do. She walked to the other side of the lab anyway. I set the sandwich down and called. Madison. She answered immediately. Hey, what happened? No greeting, no old memories, no invitation to explain her entire life, just the reason for the call. She was silent for a second. Tyler and I broke up. I looked through the glass wall at the robot test area. Okay. I know you don't care. That's not what I said. He moved out. All right. He took money from my checking account. I stood. How? We had access to each other's accounts, $19,700. Did you authorize it? No. Call your bank, then file a police report if they advise you to. She let out a broken laugh. That's it? What else do you want me to do? I don't know, I know how stupid this sounds. I didn't answer. She continued. He said it was for a business deposit. Was it? No, it was for credit cards. I picked up the test tablet. Then document everything. I already did. Good. He also opened a personal loan in your name with me listed as co-borrower. Did you sign it? No. Then get a lawyer. I have an appointment tomorrow. Good. Another pause, then she said, I found more files, old Dropbox folders, his startup folders, your research presentations, there's almost nothing in there he actually made. That doesn't surprise me. He had your original designs, your notes, even your email comments. Her voice rose. Why didn't you stop him? I did, I told him not to use my work, but you still kept helping. I put the tablet down. You were there, you asked me to. That's not fair. It's accurate, I didn't know he was taking credit for everything. You knew I was fixing his projects. I thought you were helping. You never told me it was this bad. I told you enough. Silence. Then Madison said something she had never said in college. You were right. I leaned against the workbench. About what? About him? I didn't answer. She kept talking. And about me, I kept telling you Tyler needed help because you were stronger, I said you could handle it, I said he didn't have anybody else, I made that your problem. She gave a bitter laugh. You really aren't going to make this easier. No. I probably deserve that. I'm not punishing you. I know. The line stayed quiet. Then she asked, Are you seeing someone? I picked up the sandwich again. That's not related to Tyler's loan. I know, then we're done. Evan? What? I'm sorry. I didn't respond immediately, not because I needed time to process it, but because I was reading a warning on the test monitor. The robot had failed another tote detection. I heard you. That isn't the same as accepting it. You called about Tyler. I called because I wanted to hear your voice. I looked at the clock. Madison, I have work. Of course you do, that's not an insult. I didn't mean it like one. Claire pointed at the test display from across the room, I nodded. Madison spoke quickly. Can I ask one thing? 1. If I'd told you not to help Tyler back then, would you have stayed? No. Her breath caught. Why not? Because by the time I left, the problem wasn't Tyler, the problem was that you believed I should lose things so he didn't have to. Her voice was barely above a whisper. I know. I have to go. Okay. I ended the call. Claire walked back over. You all right? The left camera is losing contrast again. She stared at me. That was not what I meant. It's what I'm working on. She pulled the tablet away. Fine, I'll work on it, eat the sandwich. I took another bite. She returned the tablet. Better. 3 weeks later. Madison's attorney sent Tyler a formal demand regarding the unauthorized account transfer and disputed loan. I only knew because Madison emailed me a copy of one document. Tyler had apparently claimed that I had encouraged Madison to leave him and had interfered with his employment. I responded with one sentence, I have had no involvement in your relationship or his employment outside documented vendor evaluations. I copied our company attorney, then I stopped responding. Tyler did not, he emailed me the next morning, you think you won? I deleted it. Another came that afternoon, you poisoned her against me. Deleted. Then, you stole my future and now you're stealing my life. I forwarded that one to counsel. Our attorney, Rachel Kim, called within 10 minutes. Any threats? Not directly, any contact in person? No. Don't respond. I haven't. Good. She paused. Your ex-girlfriend's lawyer may request records from the university dispute, they can go through the university. That's what I told them. Fine. Rachel cleared her throat. And Evan, this man appears to believe documentation is a personal attack. That sounds accurate. Keep documenting. I did. The company grew slowly, then fast. Our first commercial system stayed online for 97% of scheduled operating hours, the second performed better, the third cut manual picking delays enough for the customer to expand the contract. Claire hired 2 field engineers, then 4. We rented a small industrial space outside Boston, half office, half machine shop. The sign on the front door looked cheap. The lease did not. One afternoon, I walked in carrying a motor assembly and found Claire arguing with a venture investor. He wore a suit that cost more than our first test robot. He pointed at a forecast. "You're assuming a sales cycle under 9 months." Claire crossed her arms. "We already have customers in procurement. Letters of intent aren't revenue." "No, that's why the spreadsheet doesn't list them as revenue." He looked at me. "Dr. Brooks?" "Not yet, close enough." "No," he smiled. "I like precision." "Then don't call me something I haven't earned." Claire covered a laugh. The investor looked back at the projections. "We're interested." Claire sat down. "At what valuation?" He gave a number. She laughed in his face. "No." He raised an eyebrow. "You didn't even ask Evan." "She doesn't need to." Claire pointed at me. "He hates your number more than I do." The investor looked amused. "Why?" I placed the motor assembly on the table. "Because you're valuing the company like a services contractor. That's where your revenue is today, but not where the margin is." "Then prove it." I pointed toward the shop floor. "We are." That meeting ended without a deal. 2 months later, another investor offered almost twice the valuation. We still negotiated for 3 weeks. When the financing closed, the company was valued at $47 million. My father called after the press release. "Your mother printed this one too." "Of course she did. She says you look tired." I was tired. "She wants a better photo." "She isn't the boss of me." "She thinks she is." My mother grabbed the phone. "Evan." "Hi, Mom. You need a haircut." "Great talking to you." "And Claire looks nice." I looked across the office. Claire was signing a supplier agreement. "How do you know Claire?" "She's in the photo." "That answers a different question." My mother laughed. "Bring her home sometime." "Goodbye, Mom." I hung up. Claire looked over. Was I just disgust? No. That means yes. Should I be concerned? Only if my mother gets your number. Too late. She emailed me last month. I stared at her. Claire smiled. "Navy does photograph better." I pointed toward the door. "You're fired. I own more of the company than you. You can't fire me." "That's a design flaw." For the first time in years, my life had people around me who carried their own weight. Nobody needed me to lie for them. Nobody needed me to rescue them from a deadline they ignored. Nobody took money from my account and called it compassion. When something failed, we fixed it. When somebody made a mistake, they owned it. Then Tyler decided to put my name on the internet. It started with a post. An old classmate sent me the screenshot at 6:12 one morning. Funny how some people build careers on ideas they stole from the people they left behind. No name, but underneath it, Tyler had posted an old college photo, me, him, our senior lab, the prototype behind us. Within hours, comments started appearing. "Wasn't that Evan Brooks, the MIT robotics guy?" Tyler replied, "More than people know." Rachel called before breakfast. "Do not respond." I wasn't planning to. It's vague enough that I wouldn't touch it yet. Fine, save everything. Already done. By noon, Tyler made it less vague. He posted, "I designed the original control concept that became Brooks's warehouse platform." I was pushed out after a personal dispute. Claire walked into my office holding her phone. "Can I hit him?" "No." "Legally?" "Also no." Rachel was already on speaker. "Also no." Claire sat down. "He's claiming ownership." Rachel answered. "He's making a public assertion tied to identifiable intellectual property." Good. That was not excitement. It sounded useful. It is useful if you enjoy litigation. I pulled up our patent files. We have the records, every commit, lab notebooks, university disclosures. Claire leaned toward the phone. "So we crush him." Rachel sighed. "We send a narrowly drafted demand letter." Claire leaned back. "Lawyers ruin every good sentence." Rachel continued. "He needs to remove the statements, stop claiming inventorship, and publish a correction." "What if he refuses?" I asked. "Then we escalate." The letter went out that afternoon. Tyler posted it online. He covered part of the page with a caption, "Look how scared rich people get when the truth comes out." Claire read it twice. Did he just publish our lawyer's letter? Yes. Rachel called. I saw it, he's doubling down. Claire grinned. Now can we crush him? Rachel ignored her. We need a litigation hold across anything related to your university work. I'm contacting MIT counsel. Done. And nobody speaks publicly. Claire raised her hand. Rachel somehow heard it. Especially Claire. Claire lowered her hand. This is discrimination. For 2 days, Tyler got attention. A small business podcast invited him on. He told the host he had been the original brains behind my early work, claimed I had used my relationship with faculty to push him out, said Madison had left him because I re-entered her life after getting money. That part was so disconnected from reality that even Paige texted me, "He's completely lost it." Then Tyler made his biggest mistake. He named the prototype, he named the university course, he gave a timeline, and every date was wrong. Rachel watched the interview twice, then called. He just made our job much easier. The next morning, Tyler received a 34-page complaint: defamation, false attribution, business disparagement, claims tied specifically to statements we could prove false. We did not sue him because he insulted me, we sued because he was publicly claiming ownership of technology our company licensed and commercialized that could affect customers, investors, patent rights, contracts. Within 48 hours, his tone changed. His lawyer contacted Rachel. They wanted a private conversation. Claire looked disappointed. He got a lawyer. Apparently that ruins the entertainment. I signed a vendor payment. This isn't entertainment. You're right, it's slightly entertaining. The discovery process exposed more than Tyler expected. He had saved old emails, so had I. He had old files, so did the university. The difference was that our dates matched, and his story did not. My first control architecture notes existed 7 months before Tyler claimed he helped design the system. The repository showed 94% of the original code commits under my account, the rest belonged to 2 other students in Dr. Harris. Tyler had contributed comments, not architecture, not algorithms, not design ownership. His name did not appear on the invention disclosure, nor in the patent chain. Professor Mackey provided the old academic review. Dr. Harris provided lab records. Keller provided the later development history showing how far the commercial system had moved from the college prototype. Then Madison was subpoenaed. She called me that night. I got papers. I know, our lawyer told me. Her voice tightened. I don't want to be involved in this. Then tell the truth and go home. What do they want from me? Ask your attorney, then listen to your attorney. She exhaled. Tyler called me. He says if I testify, I'm destroying him. Block him, you're not deciding the facts. He says I owe him. That sounds familiar. She went quiet, then she laughed once. Yeah. I turned a page. What did he ask you to say? That he worked on your projects all the time. Did he? He was around. That isn't the question, no. Then there's your answer. He wants me to say you were jealous, were you? No, then don't. She lowered her voice. He wants me to say you threatened him, did I? No, then don't. She went silent for several seconds. Why is this so easy for you now? It's evidence. I mean all of it. I set the report down. You want a speech? No. Good, tell the truth, that's it. Her deposition lasted 4 hours. Rachel gave me the summary later. Madison did exactly what I told her. She told the truth. Tyler had used my work. He had described my research as basically ours. He had repeatedly asked me for technical help. He had lied to her about permission. He had blamed me for his academic review. He had blamed me for losing the vendor bid. He had told her I manipulated the score. She also confirmed something I had never known before I left for Boston. Tyler had told Madison that MIT would probably drop me within a year. He had said, Evan's good at school, real life will eat him alive. Claire read that line from the deposition summary. She looked through the office window at 14 employees, 2 assembly stations, and a whiteboard covered in deployment schedules. Real life seems confused. I took the page from her. Back to work. The case did not go to trial. Tyler's lawyer pushed for settlement after the technical records were exchanged. The terms required him to delete the posts, publish a correction, stop claiming ownership or inventorship, and pay part of our legal costs. He also signed a statement acknowledging that he had no ownership interest in our technology. Claire wanted the correction pinned everywhere. Rachel said, "No, we are not humiliating him for sport." Claire frowned. He humiliated himself for free. Still no. I approved the settlement. Tyler posted the correction on a Tuesday morning. It was short. His earlier statements regarding my ownership of the technology were inaccurate. He had not been an inventor, he had no rights to the system. The podcast episode disappeared. Then his employer removed him, not because I called them, I didn't. Their public statements cited professional conduct inconsistent with company policy. Tyler blamed me anyway, this time he did it privately. One final email, "You took everything." I forwarded it to Rachel, then I blocked the address. 2 weeks later, I stood in front of my dissertation committee. Professor Keller sat near the end of the table. He looked bored, that meant he expected me to pass. Claire waited outside. My parents had flown in the night before. My mother had tried to iron my shirt after I was already wearing it. The defense lasted nearly 2 hours. Questions about dynamic route planning, vision failure under poor lighting, safety constraints, system latency, field deployment. A committee member spent 12 minutes attacking one assumption in my reliability model. I pulled up field data. We stopped using that assumption after Pilot 2. He looked at the graph. When? 14 months ago. Why is it still in Chapter 4? Historical comparison. He leaned back. Fair. Keller tapped his pen against the table. Another professor questioned whether our commercial deployment had distorted the research goals. I opened the original proposal. The deployment gave us failure data we couldn't generate in a controlled lab over 19,000 operating hours. She looked toward Keller. He said nothing. I showed the fault classification. Mechanical failures, sensor occlusion, operator interference, network loss, bad inventory data. Real warehouses did things no clean lab could reproduce. The questions continued, then they stopped. The committee chair closed her folder. "Thank you, Evan, please wait outside." I walked into the hallway. Claire stood up. "Well, they kicked me out, that's normal." "I know." My father came around the corner holding 4 coffees, my mother followed. "You look pale." "I'm fine, did you drink water?" "Yes." "When?" Claire took a coffee from my father. "He drank some yesterday." My mother pointed at her. "See, she understands." "I regret introducing you." My father handed me a cup. "You pass, they're deciding." "How long?" "I don't know." The door opened 6 minutes later. The chair smiled. "Come in." We walked back into the room. The committee remained seated. I stood at the end of the table. The chair extended her hand. "Congratulations, Dr. Brooks." My father yelled from the hallway. "Yes." Every committee member heard him. Keller covered his face. The chair laughed. "I assume that's family." "Yes, go celebrate." I shook her hand, then the others. Keller waited until last. He stood. "Not terrible." That almost sounded nice. "Don't get used to it. Good work, Evan." Outside, my mother hugged me so hard my coffee almost spilled. My father slapped my shoulder. Claire stood a few feet away. I looked at her. She raised her cup. "Dr. Brooks." I pointed at her. "Don't," she smiled. "Oh, I'm using that forever." My mother immediately joined in. "Dr. Brooks." My father lifted his coffee. "Doctor." Keller walked past us. "This is going to become unbearable." It did. For the next week, everyone in the company found a reason to call me doctor. The machinist asked if I could examine a gearbox. Claire asked if I could prescribe a better sales forecast. One engineer taped Dr. Brooks to my office door in red electrical tape. I left it there. The graduation ceremony came 3 weeks later. My parents arrived early. Keller arrived late. Claire claimed she hated ceremonies and then showed up 45 minutes before everyone else. After the procession, speeches, handshakes, and photographs, I stepped outside with my doctoral hood over one arm. My father was arguing with my mother about which photo looked better. Claire stood near the steps answering a customer message. Then I saw Madison. She was near the edge of the crowd, alone, wearing a dark green dress and holding a small box in both hands. She did not wave, she waited. Claire followed my line of sight. "I can disappear." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. Your mother wants a picture with Keller anyway." "That sounds like Keller's problem." She walked away. I crossed the lawn. Madison looked at the doctoral hood. "Congratulations." "Thank you." Her eyes moved toward the crowd. "Your parents look happy." They are. I saw your dad yelling when you came out. That sounds like him. She smiled briefly, then held out the box. This is yours. I took it. What is it? Old stuff. I opened the lid, my apartment key, a printed photo from sophomore year, a cheap watch she had given me for my 22nd birthday, a ticket stub from our first concert. The ring I had bought during senior year but never proposed with. I looked at her. How did you get the ring? You left it in the bedroom drawer. I closed the box. I forgot about it, she rubbed her thumb against her palm. I almost threw it away. Why didn't you? I don't know, I handed the box back. Keep it or throw it out. She didn't take it. No, Madison, it's yours. I set it on the stone railing beside us, she looked at the box, then at me. Can I say something without you walking away? That depends on how long it is. A real laugh escaped her. Still I have dinner reservations. I'll be quick, she took one breath. I was wrong, not just about Tyler, about what I thought love was supposed to look like. I didn't interrupt. Every time you gave something up for me, I called it love, your internships, your weekends, your money, your time, her hand dropped. Every time Tyler took something from you, I called it friendship. A group of graduates passed behind us shouting, Madison waited until they were gone. I kept asking you to prove you cared by losing something, and when you stopped, I called you selfish. I folded my arms. She continued, I was wrong, I know saying it now doesn't fix anything. It doesn't. I'm not asking you to tell me it does, good. She looked toward Claire, who was now standing with my mother. You're with her. Claire, yes, we've been seeing each other. Madison nodded. She seems good. She is, you look good together, thank you. She gave another small nod. Tyler moved back in with his parents, he lost the job, he keeps trying to start businesses. Not my problem, I know, he says you destroyed him, I didn't, I know that too. She glanced down. He called me after the settlement, for me to tell everyone you pressured me into testifying, did I? No, then I blocked him, I nodded. Good. She looked at me for several seconds. I wish I'd done that 6 years ago, you didn't? No, my father yelled from across the lawn. Evan, your mother wants the hat picture. I looked back, my mother was holding my graduation cap like a weapon, Madison smiled. You should go. Yes, I picked up the old box and held it toward her again, she pushed it back. Please. I looked at it, then set it into my graduation bag. Fine. She started to turn, then stopped. Evan, was there ever a point where I could have fixed us? I answered immediately. Yeah, right before I had to ask you to choose me. Her mouth tightened, she nodded once. I deserve that, it wasn't meant to hurt you, I know. I started toward my family, Madison called after me. I really am sorry. I turned halfway. I believe you, she waited, that doesn't mean I want you back, her eyes closed for a second. Then she gave a small nod. I know. I walked away, Claire met me halfway, she looked over my shoulder. How bad? Not bad, no screaming, no wine thrown, there's no wine in graduation punch, no, she sighed. Disappointing. I handed her the old box. Hold this, she opened it, her eyebrows rose when she saw the ring, oh, it's old, I gathered that, she gave it back. I never gave it to her, Claire stared at me. You bought an engagement ring for Madison, yes, and didn't propose, no why? The timing was bad, that may be the understatement of the decade. My mother yelled again, Evan. Claire closed the box. Go before she starts paging Dr. Brooks over the PA. We joined my parents, my mother rearranged all of us 4 times. Keller appeared long enough to complain, my father ignored him. Claire stood beside me for the final picture. My mother looked through the camera screen. Closer, Claire moved 2 inches, my mother frowned. Closer, I looked at Claire, she won't stop, Claire stepped against my shoulder. Like this, my mother smiled. Perfect. Keller muttered. This is no longer an academic event. My father laughed, the camera clicked. That photograph ended up framed in my parents' house, not the old college picture, not the graduation picture with Madison, that one. My parents, Claire, Keller looking irritated at the edge, me wearing the doctoral hood, nobody in the picture needed me to become smaller so they could stay comfortable. 6 months after graduation, I moved full-time into the company. The title on my employment contract read, Co-founder and Chief Technology Officer. Claire became COO, Keller stayed an advisor and complained whenever we scheduled meetings before 10 a.m. We hired engineers, field technicians, sales staff, and a safety lead who rejected 3 of my designs in his first month. I gave him a raise. The first major rollout covered 6 warehouses, then 11, then 19. Our machines were not perfect. A drive unit failed on the first day of a customer demonstration. A software update once caused 7 robots to park themselves in a perfect line and refuse to move. Claire stood on the warehouse floor staring at them. Are they on strike? I opened the diagnostic tablet. Looks organized. Did you teach them labor law? No good, fix it before they unionize. We fixed it. That became the job, not revenge, not proving Madison wrong, every morning building something that worked, and fixing it when it didn't. When the company crossed 100 employees, Claire brought a grocery store cake into the break room. The icing said, "We survived." I looked at it. That's the message. We just closed at $28 million round. Exactly, fiscal discipline. Keller cut himself the biggest piece. I taught her that. No, you didn't, Claire said. He pointed his fork at her. I taught both of you everything. I sat down. You taught us how to fill out university disclosure forms, that is everything. The new financing valued the company well above $100 million. The press release used words like rapid expansion and next generation industrial automation. My mother called, "You need another haircut." I hung up. She called Claire. Claire answered, "Traitor." 2 years after my doctorate, my old university invited me back to give the keynote at an engineering entrepreneurship forum. The email came from Dr. Harris. Subject: "Come make me look good." I called him. "That's your professional invitation? You already got the official one." I deleted it. Exactly why I sent this. What do you want me to talk about? Failure. That sounds supportive. Students hear enough success stories. Tell them what actually happens. What actually happens? You build something, it breaks, you rebuild it, you think you're done, it breaks somewhere more expensive. That is accurate, so talk about that. I accepted. Claire came with me because we had a supplier meeting 40 minutes away the next morning. The campus looked smaller than I remembered. The engineering building had new glass doors. The old student union still had the same terrible coffee. Dr. Harris met us in the lobby. He hugged Claire, then shook my hand. I pointed at him. You hugged her. She's more likable. That is true. The auditorium held almost 600 people. Students filled the front rows, faculty sat near the aisle, alumni and industry guests behind them. Dr. Harris walked onto the stage first. He gave a short introduction, no dramatic biography, no exaggerated praise. He listed the company, our deployments, my PhD, then he said, "Evan used to sit in the third row and argue with me." I leaned toward the microphone. "You were wrong a lot." Students laughed. Harris pointed at me. "This is what I mean." Then he left the stage. I stood behind the lectern. I'm supposed to talk about entrepreneurship. I clicked the remote. A photo appeared of our first warehouse robot lying sideways on a concrete floor. The front wheel had snapped off. The room laughed. This was our first major customer. Demo. Next slide. A burned motor. Our second. Next, a robot parked under a sprinkler pipe with the top casing crushed. Our third. More laughter. I pointed at the screen. Nobody puts these pictures in funding. Announcements. I moved away from the lectern. They show you the clean lab. Click. They show you the press release. Click. They show you the investment. Click. Showed a photo of Claire asleep at a conference table at 3 a.m. The auditorium exploded. Claire shouted from the front row. I'm suing. I pointed at her. That's our COO. She raised one finger. The students laughed harder. I continued. The boring truth is that most progress looks like this. A deployment checklist appeared. Show up, click, do the work, click, document what happened, click, own your mistakes, click, and stop expecting somebody else to rescue you from consequences you created. The room became quieter. I didn't mention Tyler. I didn't need to. After the speech, students crowded the stage. Questions about robotics, PhD applications, startups, patents, hiring. One sophomore asked, "How did you know leaving home for MIT was the right decision?" I handed the microphone back. I didn't need to know. He looked confused. I had an opportunity. I took it, then I worked. That's it, that's most of it. A girl near him asked, "Did people tell you not to go?" "Yes." "What did you do?" "Went anyway." The group laughed. After the event, Dr. Harris hosted a small alumni dinner in the old faculty dining hall. Claire sat across from me arguing with an electrical engineering professor about automation labor shortages. My father had driven down for the event. My mother had come too, which meant there were now printed copies of my keynote photo somewhere. An old classmate named Jason dropped into the empty seat beside me. He had put on 25 pounds and grown a beard. "Brooks." "Jason," he shook my hand. "Last time I saw you, Grant's mom was trying to kill you at graduation." My father looked up from his dinner. "She wasn't very good at it." Jason laughed, then he leaned toward me. "You hear anything about Tyler?" No, I saw him last year. He's in Ohio now. Good for him. Jason looked disappointed by the lack of reaction. Selling commercial roofing or something. Sounds like work. He's apparently married. Good. My mother glanced over. I pointed at Jason. Don't encourage him, Jason grinned. No, I'm done. He lifted his glass. Madison's doing okay too. I looked at him. I didn't ask. I know. Then why are you giving me a census report? Because everybody used. To think that whole mess was the biggest thing that ever happened to us. He gestured around the room. Now it's just old college drama. That was accurate. Jason leaned back. Still, he looked toward the stage, where the university had left one of my presentation slides on the screen. You ever wonder what would have happened if you stayed? I reached into my jacket pocket. My father had given me a small printed photograph before dinner. Doctoral graduation. My parents, Claire, Keller at the edge. I placed it on the table. Beside my plate sat a small metal model of our company's first production robot. Dr. Harris had given it to me before the keynote. I looked at Jason. I already know. He waited. That's why I left. He raised his glass. Fair enough. Across the room, Claire waved her phone at me. We need to go. Jason looked at her. Boss, worse. Claire walked over. Supplier moved tomorrow's meeting to 7:30. I stood. That should be illegal. They're German. That explains nothing. They enjoy suffering. My father hugged me near the door. My mother adjusted my collar. I pushed her hand away. I'm 32. You're crooked at 32. Claire turned around so my mother could inspect her too. I pointed at her. Stop helping. My mother smiled. I like her, I know. We left the dining hall, the shortest route to the parking lot past the old apartment complex where Madison and I had lived senior year. The building had been renovated, different paint, new windows, same concrete steps. Claire walked ahead, checking tomorrow's schedule. My phone rang. Company operations. I answered. What happened? Our deployment director spoke over warehouse noise. The Dallas expansion got signed. I stopped. All 8 sites. All 8. When? About 4 minutes ago. What changed? They accepted the service terms. Deposit already initiated. I looked across the parking lot. Claire turned. She could tell from my face it was good news. Our director kept talking. Operations wants the first deployment team on site in 6 weeks. That's aggressive. You're the one who promised 7. I was trying to win the contract. Well, congratulations, you did. I laughed. Send me the final schedule. Already did. We ended the call. Claire stood beside the car. Well. Dallas sighed. Her eyes widened. All of it. All 8. She threw both hands up. Yes, that puts us over the annual target. It does. We need 2 more field teams. 3. We don't have 3. We will. She opened the passenger door, then looked past me. You know this place? I glanced at the apartment building. Used to live here with Madison. Yes, Claire nodded. You want a minute? No. I walked toward the car. She leaned over the roof. You sure? My phone chimed. The signed contract was already in my inbox. I held it up. I have $14 million worth of reasons not to stand in a parking lot staring at an apartment. Claire laughed. Dr. Brooks, you planning to stand there all night? Nope. I got in. She started the engine before she pulled out. She looked at me. Dinner? It's 9:40. That wasn't an answer. Yes, good. She drove toward the exit. The old apartment disappeared behind us at the first light. My phone rang again. My mother. I answered on speaker. Hi, did you leave already? Yes. You didn't say goodbye to Dr. Harris. I did. He says you didn't hug him. Claire covered her mouth. I looked at the road. I shook his hand. That man helped you get into MIT. He does not want a hug. How do you know? Because he's Dr. Harris. My father yelled from somewhere in the background. Leave the kid alone, my mother shouted back. He is 32, my father replied. Exactly. Claire was laughing so hard she had to slow down. My mother returned to the phone. Drive safe. Claire's driving. Good. I looked at Claire. That sounded insulting. It was accurate, my mother said. Then she hung up. Claire wiped her eyes. I love your mother. She's available for adoption. No chance. I'm keeping her. The light changed. We drove on. There was no final confrontation waiting around the corner, no giant revenge speech, no moment where Tyler came crawling back and begged me for money. He had his life, Madison had hers. They had made choices. Those choices had costs. So had mine. The difference was that I finally paid for my own future instead of financing everybody else's excuses. At 24, I had stood in an apartment while my girlfriend demanded that I reject MIT so I could help her childhood sweetheart clean up another disaster. I had taken her hand and put it in his. People thought I was angry. They thought I was bluffing. Madison thought I would call the next morning. Tyler thought I would spend the rest of my life jealous of him. Instead, I left. I earned the doctorate I had once thrown away. I built the technology one had once let other people borrow. I turned it into a company. I hired people better than me at things I couldn't do. I stopped confusing sacrifice with love. And years later, when people called me Dr. Brooks, There was nobody standing beside me asking what I was willing to give up for Tyler this time. Claire tapped the steering wheel. You're quiet. Thinking about tomorrow, that sounds unhealthy. We need to hire 3 field teams. Tomorrow we need them before Dallas deployment. Tomorrow we need. She pointed at me. If you say Dallas again before I get food, I'm dropping you at the airport. I leaned back. Dinner first, good answer. She took the next exit. My phone lit up one more time, a message from Dr. Harris, good speech. Under it, your mother made me hug her. I showed Claire, she laughed, I typed back, consequences. Then I put the phone away, the road opened ahead of us, I didn't look back.